Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Next Step Espresso, your daily shot of fitness. I am your host, as always, Johnny Landals from Next Step Nutrition, bringing you the podcast that helps you overcome the nutrition confusion and get results for life. Today, we're on episode 442. I spoke the other day briefly about my history in the fit cross space or the CrossFit space. I'm sure they're not going to come after me this time. And if you're unsure what I'm on about, there was a brief period when I got a cease and desist letter from CrossFit, but that is an episode for another day, let's say. But I spoke about how I was thrust very much into the paleo diet ethos. And the paleo diet, for those of you who are unaware, I've spoken about on other podcasts. So do search for those podcasts on Spotify and they'll bring them up. Essentially, it's about eating like our ancestors did. So going back to very natural ways of eating. And in the premise of it, it's very fine. The basics are, I think, should be the foundation for everyone's diet, right? Eating meat and vegetables, plenty of fiber, plenty of fruits, plenty of nuts and seeds, monounsaturated fats. There's a lot of great stuff there. Now, where paleo falls down is their hatred of dairy products, for one, and also their hatred of beans and legumes, saying that they are forms of foods that we shouldn't eat, in which they have incorrectly assessed those, and also their hatred of more starchy carbohydrates and all processed foods in general, especially when they say don't eat processed carbohydrates, but you can eat this processed food, which is a paleo friendly bar. It just doesn't really make any sense. What we need to remember is that processing a food doesn't make it unhealthy for you. There are no foods out there that do cause negative health consequences by themselves. The devil is always within the dose. If you eat too much of a high calorie food, you're going to get negative health consequences. If you don't eat enough fruit and vegetables because you eat too many processed foods, then you're going to suffer ill health consequences. But having a balance between them all isn't going to let you down. And this is where orthorexia comes in, right? The orthorexia is the fear of food because of it having to be very, very clean, right? And this can actually hurt a lot of people's nutrient availability, their diversity among their food groups, because they're too busy trying to be perfect. So when you get to a stage when you're like, I can't eat that because that's bad for me, or I can't eat that because that's bad for me, you are inadvertently creating quite a tough relationship with food. And these can lead to that orthorexia of, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't eat that, I can't eat that. And this is very, very common in the clean eating and the paleo spaces because they are so afraid of certain foods being bad for them. And when you get obsessed with clean foods and clean eating versus everything else, this is a big, big sign that you are heading down that pathway. So if you recognize these signs within yourself, what I want to remind you of today is this confirmation that there are no foods that are bad for you in and of themselves. The thing that we need to remember most of all is our overall energy balance and energy availability, something I'm going to talk about in Thursday's episode. So make sure you tune in then. Our overall energy balance, so our overall energy intake, as well as our overall quality and diversity within our diet. So it's okay for you to have a McDonald's. There's been a recent study with a single man who had only McDonald's for 6 months, and he lost body fat because he controlled his calories and he improved his health markers, which are related to obesity and coronary heart disease, diabetes, those kind of things. Over time, obviously, I would recommend he has more plants, more fruits and vegetables, and more diverse food. But because he went from overweight to being normal weight, he improved his health markers within that aspect of the world. So if you are controlling your overall energy intake, if you are getting in a diverse range of foods, because dairy, meats, fruits, vegetables, starchy carbohydrates, nuts, seeds, these foods have different nutrients for us, and therefore having a wide range is best for us, getting different colors, getting different textures, getting different things, and having a healthy relationship with food where you've got a good balance. You can have a slice of chocolate cake And that one slice of chocolate cake isn't going to instantly make you sick, unhealthy, unwell, and completely screw up your diet or your fitness regimen. By being too strict and too restrictive, too rigid, you might actually affect your relationships with others, your ability to enjoy social events and other events outside, and you might actually make yourself less well if you have a very, very strict diet and a very, very rigid and very small window of nutrients available to you. Remember, something like chocolate, at the end of the day, it's milk, it's butter, it's cocoa powder, it's some added sugar mixed together, and that's fine. In smaller doses, in a balance of a wide range of foods, you're going to be absolutely fine. Don't get caught up thinking you have to eat clean. Don't get caught up in having to follow the paleo diet. Remember to check that other episode out, and don't get stuck in that rigid thinking. Remain flexible, remain evidence-based, and you guys will be fine. Thank you, as always, for listening to this episode. If you have enjoyed it, I would love it if you could share it with someone who might find it useful. If you're listening to this on a podcast, you can go and watch it on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, great, thank you. You can also subscribe to the podcast. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you guys can get more and more blogs over at nextstepnutrition.co.uk. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do drop me a comment at Johnny Landals or at Next Step Nutrition Ltd on Instagram as well. Have a great day, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for another shot of fitness.